Hello everyone, welcome to this Unreal Engine tutorial. In this video, we will see how to set up a simple mantling system like we had in ALS before. We have exported the animations from ALS before in the previous video. If you haven't checked it, I will leave the link in the description. You can check that out. So to set up the mantling system, I will first open the side scroller BP, character blueprint. Okay, here I will create a new function, mantle trace, and in mantle trace we will trace for items on which the character can mantle. So to do that, sphere trace by channel. So for now we are not creating any specific channel for items to be mantled. As of now we will keep it to visibility, or whatever item that is visible to the character will be considered here. So to start the start point of trace, I will get actor location. I'll split this, then vector, x and y we will keep it as it is. We just want the height to be increased, so I'll add a float here. For now I'll keep this as 150. We can change this later if we require. Then we need the actor's rotation. Then the forward actor, forward vector, and we will multiply a float with this so that the trace point is certain distance before the actor. So for now we will just keep this as 30. We can increase that also later if required. Then we'll add this vector plus vector. We'll add this here, and this will be our starting point. Then we will break this again. So here I'll give a negative value. Okay, so this will be my endpoint of the trace, and we want the trace to happen always, so I'll add a event tick and call this function mantle trace. And we need to set one more thing. I want this to be visible for one frame and the radius to be 10. So we can see the trace here. Okay, it's very close to the character, so we'll just increase this to 50. This seems to be fine. The height is also, it looks fine. Okay, so then depending upon the height where it is hit, we will decide the mantle, and we will have two types of mantle here. From the animations we see, we imported 1M mantle and 2M mantle. So we have two types of mantle here, so we can include that. And the right way to include that is to create a enum. I'll create enum here. Blueprints enumeration. Here I'll give it as mantle type. So we'll have three mantles here. One is no mantle. Then mantle 1m, mantle 2m. Okay, so now we have enum setup. How do we decide on which mantle type to choose based on the hit location? So for that, we will do a branch here to check whether we have a valid hit, and we will process it only if it is true, and break hit result. And if it is true, I'll set I'll store the height of the hit location in a variable. To do that, I'll promote this to a variable until height. Of course, this is a full vector. We will break this and take only the z part of this. To do that, I'll break the vector, and here again I'll do a branch. Here we will see whether the height location is the z is beyond a value, and based on that we will set the mantle type. So what I will do is I'll do greater than float, and let this be 300, and if it is true, we need one more variable here, mantle type. So this will hold the value of what type of mantle we are going to use, and this variable type will be mantle type enum. So the enum which we created in the previous step, that we are giving it as a type here. So when we want to set this, we will get a drop down here with the enum variables we have defined. So if it is greater than 300, I'll set it as mantle 2m. If it is false, I'll do one more branch and check if this value is greater than 200. And if it is true, sorry, not branch, will set. I press Ctrl W to copy and create a duplicate one. So no mantle, and if there is no hit result also, we want to set it as no mantle. Okay. Now we have defined the mantle types. Let's see whether it is showing fine or not. So for that we will print it here, even tick, get mantle type, plug it in here. Type. Okay, now it is no mantle. Okay, it is 2m mantle. This is 1m mantle, and when we move away, it is going to no mantle. So this is working fine. So now how do we plug in the animations? So there are a couple of ways to do it. The best way is to do it through an interface and calling it in the animation blueprint. So I'll create a folder here, interface, and in interface I'll create a new blueprint interface, and I'll call this as mantle. Okay, and I'll create a new function, mantle system, and I need one variable to be passed, which is mantle type. Okay. And the type will be again mantle type enum. Okay, so this is set now. So to include this in the character blueprint, click on class settings, go to add, and we'll get the mantle interface. So add this here, compile it. Now we want to set at what point we are going to mantle. So basically once we run near the object, once I click on jump, it has to mantle there. So I'll choose the jump input action. So move this down here. Okay, I'll not have touch input, so I'll remove this. This down here, make some space. Then on pressed, what I will do is I will do switch on mantle type, so that we don't have to do branch for each condition. And on the selection we will plug in this mantle type. So when the trace is found, whatever value gets stored here will get passed on the mantle type. Okay, so on no mantle it will jump as normal, so this is fine. And if it is 1m or 2m mantle, we have to do we have to plug in the animations for that. What I will do is, for that we'll pick in the mesh component, get anim instance, get an anim instance, and call the mantle system. For both 2m mantle and 1m mantle, we'll be calling the same function. So I am plugging in both the branches here and plug in mantle type here. Okay. Now open the animation blueprint. Animation blueprint is under mannequin animations and MBP. Okay, this is our animation blueprint. Okay, first things first. So whenever we want to play in a montage, we have to set a slot here. So default slot. So after that we go to event graph, and in event graph we have to create the mantle system interface, but first we need to include that in class settings. Add mantle, and now we will have mantle system, event mantle system. So whenever this event mantle system is called from anywhere, like the character blueprint or any other or any other blueprints, this event will be launched. So first we will promote this to a variable mantle type, and then we will do switch on mantle type. Mantle type will plug in from here. So we got three options, and like before, for no mantle we are not going to plug in anything. We'll montage play. We'll call the montages as part of 1m mantle and 2m mantle. And now we have to create the montages here. So I'll go to the ALS before animations folder which we imported in the previous video. I'll right click, create anim montage, create anim montage. So both montages have been created. Save all. Now go to anim BP. For 1m select the 1m montage, and for 2m we can select the 2m montage. Okay. And now we need to set some point where we can complete the animation and set this to no mantle. So for that, again go back and open the montages here. Now we need to create a notifier here. So here I'll go to add notify, new notify, mantle end, and move this to the end of the animation. Okay, save this, open the other montage. We can add the same notify, skeletal notifies. We have mantle end, and move this to the end. Now go back to the anim BP. Now we will get anim notify mantle end, which we have added on both the montages. Then try get pawn owner. On the pawn owner we will be calling the mantle system. Mantle system. So this is to reset the mantle system variable to no mantle. Okay, now we have almost everything. Let's try what it is doing. Okay, okay, it's getting up, but it's coming down. So what needs to be done? Okay, now go to the side scroller character. Now we have set the animations to be run, but we need to say that we need to set on the movement types or the movement mode. So for that, we will bring in the character movement and set movement mode. Set this to flying. Set this to flying. And also the animations, we have to change them to root motion animation. So enable root motion here. Likewise, so root motion is enabled on both animations. Saved it. Okay, so now the character is mantled, but it's not coming down. So the reason for that is we have set this to flying, but we have to change that to walking once the animation is completed. For that, we will do a delay, and since we have plugged in both the mantle types, we will take an average of both the animation duration. So we can see here this animation is almost 1.5 seconds long, and this is almost 2.67. So better we will take the 1.5 seconds, which is lower one. That should be fine, but if you want more precise animation or the delay duration, we can set this to separate streams and set the delay value separately for each mantle type. So again, after this, I'll do Control W of character movement. I'll set this to walking. Okay, now we will see. Okay, now it is jumping down once it's done. But still, the mantle system is not, still the character is not at the right position while mantling. The reason for that is we have the capsule component which is colliding with the other items. So just to confirm, just to show that, I'll remove hidden and game for the capsule component. Now if we can see, the capsule is colliding with uh, the capsule is colliding with the item on which we have to mantle, and it's not allowing to get closer. So for that, while mantling, we'll disable collision for the capsule component. So here I'll do, first I'll bring in the capsule component, collision, set collision enabled. I'll set this to no collision, and we cannot leave this as it is. After the animation is completed, we have to get this enabled. We will enable collision enabled query and physics. So now we'll try playing this. Okay, this looks better. Okay. Now, one more issue we'll see here is, so the height of the next block, even though it is a small mantle type, still it is figuring it out as 2M mantle. The reason is the Z location is calculated from the ground position. So when we are checking here, we are checking it if it is greater than 300. So it will definitely be greater than 300 because it is away from the ground point. So the right way to overcome this is, it's better to check the height if it is higher, if it is more than a particular position of the character. So there are a couple of ways to do it. One thing is we can add an arrow component here. we can add this arrow component here, and we can see if the position is higher than this arrow to do the mantle. But instead of doing that, we can use the skeleton's certain bones also. So for that, I'll open the mannequin skeleton. So this is our height, and if the position of the mantling item is higher than its head, we will do a 2M mantle. And if it is higher than like say thigh bone or the calf bone, then we will do a 1M mantle. So we'll do it that way. So to do that, go to mantle trace, and here bring in the mesh component, get socket location, and break this vector, and if the z value is greater than, so we'll plug in this and copy this again, z value is greater than this, and we have to set the socket location now. So for 1M mantle, I'll set as head, head. Sorry, for 2M mantle, I'll set as head, and for 1M mantle, I'll set this to calf L. You can set this to any one like calf L or calf right. I'll set to calf L. Okay, now let's play and see. Okay, this mantle is running fine. Okay, so now it is mantling according to the height. Okay, looks perfect. Okay, now we will remove all the debugging steps we had. So this for one frame, we'll change that to none, and we'll hide the capsule component, and in the event graph, I'll remove this print statement. And I'll remove this background for better. Okay. And we didn't had and we didn't set up IK in any of this skeleton. So it's better for now to adjust the height of the item where it is mantling for better arm position. Okay, this looks better. I'll increase this also. This is too height. Okay, this looks better. So this is how we set up a simple mantling system. Thanks for watching.